we just mess it up. Artificial love. Artificial love. Artificial love. We just make it up, 'cause reality will never be good enough.
Hi there, it's me Priyam, and today I'm gonna show you how you can build this 2.5-inch cinematic quad. I'm gonna use this quad for indoor cinematic FPV client shoots. And here's the disclaimer for this build. If you are gonna follow my build and gonna use the same components I'm using for this specific build, you have to put a custom tune on it, as I'm not gonna use recommended motor size for this specific frame, as I want to carry a full-size action camera on this 2.5-inch build, as I'm gonna build it analog and I want to carry a action camera to record the FPV footage in 4K. So now let's get the video started, and now I'm gonna show you all the components I'm using for this build. Alright, so for the frame I'm using AOS Cine25. It's a 2.5-inch frame, and for this build I'm using an AIO. It's an all-in-one board for the flight controller and the ESC. The one I am using for this build is from Speedybee, and it can handle current up to 40 amps. The recommended motor size for this frame is 1404, but I am using the Tmotor Pacer 1604 motors because I'm gonna mount a full-size action camera on this frame, and I'm using the Echine TX805 VTX for this build. It's a budget VTX with 800 mW of power. For the camera, I'm using the Runcam Robin 3 from my previous Mark 5 build. For the antenna, I'm using the Iflight Albatros, and also gonna add a GPS to this build. The one I'm using is the HGLRC M100. And for this build, I'm using a ceramic receiver from Beta FPV. For transmission, I'm using ELRS micro receiver module with my TX12 transmitter. I recommend you to get a radio that supports ELRS protocol, as ELRS is the current standard in FPV. And to watch the live FPV footage, I'm using the SkyZone Sky 040 Pro FPV goggles, as it's one of the best you can get for analog FPV. So let's start the build. First I am taking off the top plate of the frame, and now I'm gonna install the AIO on it. The reason I chose 1604 motors with 2850 kV is that I wanted to carry a full-size action cam on a 2.5-inch build. Now let's install the motors with these motor wire shields that comes with the frames. And while installing the motors, always remember to use suitable length of screws, or you're gonna accidentally touch the motor windings with the screws, which will damage the motor. Thanks to OnlyScrews for making it easier for us to find suitable length of screws or any other accessories that we'll need throughout our build. They also have a lot of other products on the site, so make sure to visit their website. The link is in the description, and make sure to use the code 777LIGHT10 on your orders for 10% discount. Alright, I have installed all the 4 motors, and now I'm gonna solder this XC60 connector to the AIO. The XC60 connector pads are gonna take a lot of heat from your solder iron, so be patient and take your time. The solder joints looks clean enough. Now it's time we solder the motor wires to the AIO. And I'm routing the motor cables like this instead of cutting it short and soldering it to the closest pads. So I don't have to worry about short wires in a future build. I can just directly swap the motors from this build to another. I am routing the cables like this instead of twisting it, and I just trim the wires just enough to reach the parallel pads on the AIO. And while soldering, I always keep my solder iron temperature to 480 degrees Celsius. But if you are a complete beginner, there are multiple videos uploaded on YouTube. You can go check them out. It's definitely gonna help you out. Alright, I soldered all the motors to the AIO, and the solder joints looks pretty clean, and I just loved how the motor routings turned out to be. Now I will install this capacitor to the AIO. After that, now I'm gonna install the receiver. The upside of using a ceramic antenna is that you don't have to install a separate antenna to the receiver, but the downside is the range. After installing the receiver to the frame, I'm using a heat shrink tube, and I'm gonna mount it to the frame. Now only thing left is to install the FPV system, but before doing so I'm gonna install the top plate to the rest of the frame, and I'm using these 3D printed protection guards on the top plate for extra protection. These are ABS material printed. Now I have removed the bottom plate of the frame and it's time we install the FPV system. So here is the wiring diagram that I am following throughout my build, and it's also provided in the description, so make sure to check it out. This build is compatible with 6S and 4S batteries, but I'm using 4S 1300 mAh LiPo cell for smoother throttle control, and the charger I'm using is the B6 Neo from SkyRC. Alright, I have installed the FPV system and the GPS. Now it's time for the propellers. For the props, I'm using Gemfan 2.5-inch 5-blade propellers. Since this is a pusher build and the motors are flipped downside, so while installing the propellers to the motors, just remember to adjust them like a normal quad and then install it like this. Alright, here is the final look of our quad. Now it's time we finally go for the test flight. Before going for the test flight, I would like to invite you to my Instagram, where I upload more short form content, and you can directly contact me there if you have any queries. So make sure to follow me there too.
We're running out of options. I didn't know then, but we took every precaution. Now you're holding back, but I can hear the pain underneath your breath. I can feel the shame running through your head. I just wanna stop it. I just wanna stop it.